Hello and welcome to this Rivemont MicroCap Strategy monthly update for May 2022. My name is Matthew Martin and I'm a portfolio manager at Rivemont. Before we start, I must mention that this presentation is for informational purposes only. This is not recommendations or investment advice. If I talk about companies during the presentation, Rivemont may hold positions in these companies and may trade on them at any time without prior notice. Now let's start with a snapshot of the Rivemont MicroCap Fund as of the end of May. And we'll do it a bit differently this month. As I mentioned in previous updates, I think the Rivemont MicroCap strategy should be looked with a longer term horizon instead of looking at monthly returns, because we invest in companies that are illiquid, that are very volatile, and sometimes the monthly returns can be very volatile for reasons that are beyond our control. So we feel it's better to look at the strategy with a multi-year horizon. So for this update, we'll look instead at the annualized return since we started this strategy in January 2018. And the annualized return after all fees was 8.4%. For a strategy that is considered riskier than usual, we feel like this annualized return should be higher, and we're not pleased with the current returns, but we're in a downturn in the market. We've been in a bear market for quite some time, and we hope that this return will improve as we move forward. Then in terms of portfolio positions, we ended the month at 27 positions. That's down 2 from last month. We sold 2 positions and we expect to sell a few more over the coming weeks and months, so you can expect this number to keep going down. I'll explain why in a minute. And in terms of concentration in the top 5 holdings, we ended the month at 45%. That's up from 37% as the end of April. And the reason is mainly that we added significantly to one of our core positions. The company is called Acru. There was a significant block of shares that was available for sale at the beginning of May, and we took this opportunity to buy more and increase our position in a big way. So that's why you see the concentration going up. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the investment strategy in the current market environment. So first of all, I think it's important to understand that typically in a normal market environment, the highest quality companies will trade at a premium valuation compared to lower quality companies. But in the current market, even the highest quality companies are getting brought down with the overall market. And so now is an opportunity for us to upgrade the quality of our portfolio by selling lower quality companies and buying more of the higher quality companies we already own and have conviction in, since they trade at very attractive valuations currently. So what you'll see from us over the next few weeks and months is that we'll try to concentrate a bit more into our highest conviction ideas, and so we'll probably reduce the number of holdings in the portfolio. When we get out of this bear market, we feel that the high quality microcaps should lead the recovery, and so we'll be well positioned for that. Now in terms of outlook, I've been saying for many months now that valuations are very attractive in the microcap sector, and I'm not the only one talking about it. If you read some financial media, you'll see more and more articles starting to pop up about small cap valuations being the lowest in sometimes decades, or at least in a very long time. So there are a few ways to look at it. There are a few different indices that track the small cap markets. And also you can look at it from a few different angles. For example, you can look at absolute valuations. So looking, for example, at the price earnings ratio compared to historical levels, or you can look on a relative basis, for example, small caps compared to larger caps. And in both cases, small cap valuations have never been so low in quite some time. So I feel like this is really a market where we should be excited to be buying stocks, small cap and micro cap stocks right now. And secondly, pessimism appears a bit excessive to us currently. If we read the macroeconomic headlines, there are a lot of bad news. We can think about inflation, the rise in interest rates, the war, supply chain disruptions. It's also hard for companies to find qualified staff. So there are a lot of negative headlines. And you need to remember that the market is a forward-looking machine. So when the headlines will start to improve a little bit and maybe get less bad, not even all positive, but just less bad news, probably that's when we'll see the market start to improve. So when we see a lot of pessimism like today, we feel like it's getting time to become a little bit more optimistic, and so that's what we're doing, and we have a good cash position right now that we intend to deploy in the next few weeks and months. Now, in terms of other highlights, first of all, we participated in another conference at the beginning of May. It's called the Plant MicroCap Showcase. It's held in Las Vegas every year. We've attended several times before, and it's a really great conference. It's a 2.5-day event. So the first half day is for educational panels, and then we have a full day of company presentations. There were about 80 companies presenting at the conference, so we were able to listen to a lot of stock pitches. And then the third day was for one-on-one meetings. So we were able to meet with 11 different companies, so individually with the management team. And in some cases, it was to catch up with CEOs that we know well, that maybe companies that we own in the portfolio. And there were also a few that we just wanted to dig more and see if it was a potential candidate for the portfolio. At the end of the conference, we were a bit disappointed to not have found any new ideas that looked very promising, but on the other hand, we were still very excited about the companies that we already own and that we got an update on. So in a more volatile market like we are now, we feel it's still great news for us to be highly comfortable with what we own in the portfolio. And then the second point that's very positive is that we had a liquidity event in one of our two remaining private companies. So We Cook Meals sold a majority stake to a large institutional investor, and as part of this transactions, they bought out all the minority shareholders, including the Rivemont MicroCap Fund. So that generated a 253% return for the fund. So the timing is very fortunate because, as I've said, we feel like the microcap market is very attractive right now, and this boosted our cash position significantly. It was about 8% cash infusion into the fund, and so this is cash that we'll be looking to deploy in the next few weeks and months. So that's it for the monthly update for May 2022. Thank you very much for listening. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to reach out. You can also write some questions in the comments on YouTube, and if there are questions in upcoming updates, we'll be happy to address them. You can also visit the rivemont.ca for finding all the information about the strategies at Rivemont. Thank you very much, and we look forward to talking to you next month.